Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to Stephen and Rush each and every Wednesday from 7 to 8. We're live in the studio. We're live today with Rainbow. Precious is in the building, and LaTonya Smiley. She's in the building as well. I know we usually get into how everybody's day was and everything else, but I really just want to focus on the topic today. It's a very deep topic. Uh, any callers, please call in. You already know what the number is. If you don't, it's 929-441-2417. I'm gonna run through our sponsors real quick. Shout out to Flourishing Hair Care Systems NYC, The Gallery, TL Max Fitness, Plush Vodka, Sayings by Butter, Plush Boutique, and Hot Commodity Cosmetics. All right. So without further ado, Miss LaTonya Smiley, how are you doing today? Oh, I can't hear you.
On mute.
There you go.
That would be good.
There
Okay.
you go. There
I'm
you
like, I'm
go.
just talking. How you doing today? I'm doing well. I'm great. I'm happy to be here, excited to have this conversation. So I hope
We
you
definitely
all are doing
appreciate you.
well. Thank you. I appreciate you inviting me.
Today is definitely a deep conversation. It's about domestic violence. What I've been doing a lot of research about lately and seeing the numbers and, you know, actually finding out that, domestic violence is more than just a man and woman fighting. It's actually way more than that. Pretty much, I
Way
want to,
more than that.
yeah, way more. Can you give us a breakdown real quick, Latanya, of what domestic violence is?
Well, so domestic violence is actually nine types of domestic violence, but we usually just deal with the top five, which is physical, sexual, financial, psychological, cultural, and verbal. We usually just deal with those, but it's more than that. It's something that's deeply rooted in your system. It is actually it is a form of mental illness for someone to think that it is okay to abuse somebody. So based on which type of abuse that you're going through, you first have to recognize that you're going through abuse. And so physical is, well, the when you study it, it doesn't say abuse, it says more of violence. So physical violence occurs when someone uses a part of their body or an object to control a person's actions. Sexual violence is occurs when a person is forced to unwillingly take part in sexual activity, which can be equated to rape or molestation. Emotional violence is when someone says or does something to make the person feel stupid or worthless, which is equivalent to verbal abuse. Psychological violence is occurs when someone uses threats and causes fear in the individual to gain control. And verbal abuse occurs when someone uses language, whether spoken or written, to cause harm to an individual. So all of the stuff usually when it comes down to domestic violence, oh, and financial abuse occurs when someone controls an individual financial resources without the person's consent or misuses them. So that's usually what happens in marriages. The husband withholds money from the wife and stuff like that. And so when we start thinking about this, we have to know that these things are very, very deeply rooted. It's not normal for someone it's a learned behavior. That's what I'll say. It's a learned behavior because usually if you've seen your father beat your mother, then it's usually that you'll end up being a woman beater. That's what society is showing. And if a woman has watched her mother be beaten, then she usually will become she will usually become a victim as well. So it's something that we really need to look at because it runs very, very deep.
Mm.
Okay, I definitely want to break down um each topic, each of the ones you just gave. But I
Okay.
want to start at the financial abuse. What you basically said pretty much when that's normally by a husband and wife. Is
Hmm.
that wouldn't that just more or less be, we can't afford certain things and, somebody has to control the money, that would be considered abuse. That's why
No,
I'm
that's not the
misinterpreting.
abuse. That's not it. It's when let's say that there's finances in the house. The husband is the breadwinner or the woman is the breadwinner, but they're not taking care of the spouse. For many women, it's like I shouldn't have to ask you if I can have money to do certain things when the money is there. And so in order for them to control you, they won't allow you to go to school. They don't allow you. You only get what's provided for you as if you're a child, where it's supposed to be one person is controlling the bank account. Both of our names is on it, but I get reprimanded when I go into the bank account to use the funds accordingly. So financial abuse is, yes, it's in husband and wife, but it could be, people be shacking these days. So it could be in that too, where you guys have stuff, but it's being withheld, or one person is controlling the resources. Usually, when there is a lot of money, when you see that Real Housewives and all of this stuff, that's usually where you see financial abuse. You don't really see it too much in Brooklyn because we don't really got it like that. But like
it sounds it sounds like what's going on with like Britney Spears. Like she has so much money, but she doesn't have control over what she gets to spend. I think it's her mother or her father. One of them are like her custodian.
But hers is more
right.
related to mental health, because that's what they're alleging, that she is.
That's what they're alleging, that she doesn't have it. Why?
But
I wanted to get it straight because y'all had me feeling away just now, like I was an abuser, and I know I'm not.
It's not that. It's called. It's technically they stopped saying domestic violence. What they say is intimate partner violence, because it could be anybody. You don't have to just be husband and wife, like she said earlier.
Yeah.
It can be any form of a duo together, like any form of relationship, and it could be in any kind of way financially. So
it also sounds like that movie on Netflix, I Care a Lot. Where the woman is going around taking care of old people. She's becoming their custodian, but she's selling their property. She's using their bank account all for herself.
Yes,
like it's their money, but she's taking advantage of them. It's pretty much what's going on.
Exactly. So it's controlling your partner's future actions. I want to go to school. You will not allow me to go to school. Use the credit cards or something. Or if financial abuse is also putting stuff in your children's name. I just learned that's a part of it too. Messing up their credit. Anything that has to do with messing with other people's stuff. That's a form of financial abuse as well. And we think that it's just not, but that is a form of abuse. So when the child grow up, they can't get nothing because we have put the light bill and all these things in their name. And it's really just controlling somebody's financial future without their consent.
Okay. Ladies, you have anything y'all want to go at?
No, you wanted to break it down by bullet. So I'm waiting on you to announce the next bullet.
Precious is spicy tonight.
No, definitely not. No,
hot today.
This is a topic that I'm very familiar with, so I like the topic. So no, not being spicy. Don know when I'm being spicy. This ain't it.
Yeah.
All right, you ain't spicy yet.
So let's go to the sexual abuse.
Sexual abuse.
I was trying to save that for
that's the most familiar. That's what most people are mostly familiar with. That.
Well, the reason why I'm gonna say that is, it's different things you hear now in the law, actually, where like with husbands and wives, that you are more entitled now to tell your spouse, I want to do this, and they have to go along with it. So this is the reason why I said
consent.
Yeah, actually, it's still,
wait, where you read that at? Because I think that's a myth.
I actually Googled that. I had to Google it once I read it. I had to Google it once I read it. In certain states,
in a relationship, there should always be consent in a relationship, whether you're married or not.
Like I said, it's still they just feel like See, I'm trying not to say all the wrong things. I'm trying to say it
Wait,
correctly.
This is a
Look,
guy.
I feel the heat, and I ain't even in the studio with y'all.
No, but this is a guideline. You gotta say it because see, that's the problem.
Yeah, no, listen, and this is the reason why we having these conversations, because of, you know,
So
like I said, I googled it and it said, like, it's like in a like one of the laws in marriage now that you can tell your wife, listen, I want to have sex. If she says no, and you take it, it's not pretty much against the law. So this is the reason why I'm asking, like,
wait,
I'm asking women that are, you know, more with these situations.
Let's
if she says no, you are allowed to take it. That's still rape.
And that's what I thought.
No. Whether you're married or not.
That's what
I thought. I agree with you, ladies. Calm down. 5 seconds. Y'all gonna get the 5 second rule in a second. 5 seconds. I agree with you. Once a female says no, that's it. No means no. So
was this in New York State, or was this just in some hick town?
That I'm not 100%. I don't
I'm
remember.
like, is this in some hick town? Because there's no way where they're saying the woman should not have the right to her body.
Especially in this climate. So I'm really trying to figure out where you read that at so we can direct people in this conversation to the right.
Not to go there.
Because just because it's on the internet does not mean that it's correct. You could have went into any unreliable source and you picked it up, because that is unbelievable, especially in this climate. You are not, it doesn't matter if you are married. If you say no, no is no. You need to give consent. That goes for the man and the woman, because men feel raped too. So you can rape your wife.
And that was the conversation me and Rainbow had the other day.
Yes.
Where I'm trying to understand how men say they've been raped.
Easy.
That is something I've never come across a man that said, yo, besides, you know, you being in jail or that type of situation.
Well, here's the thing.
But a man coming on to a woman, I don't see that.
That's such a misconception.
If a woman that a man is not attracted to is trying to sleep with him and she gets him, that's rape. Just because he got hard does not mean he enjoyed it. It doesn't mean that it was wanted.
And that's where people get it.
It's rape.
That's where the misconception comes in as well, because when you think about sexual abuse, it's all under the same thing. Sexual violence is sexual violence, whether it's against a child, whether it's against adult or whatever, man or woman. I do know guys. Now, here's the thing. In a marriage, it's not too many reported cases of marital rape. But if you say no, it is no. And it can still be, you can go as a wife, you can go right to the police department and say that you were raped. You gave that somebody took something from you that you did not give up. No means no, whether we're married or not. It is still my body. There's no legal document. The being married doesn't give you, biblically, yes. The wife is supposed to submit to her husband, but in the world, that is not the case, where we have to submit our bodies when we say no. Now, as far as a man being raped, you have to understand that rapists are not just men. That is the biggest misconception. But we think that because even from little children, pedophiles are not all men. Women are pedophiles as well. And so when this takes place, not many men what you look like going to court and saying I was raped. Like, men are not going to do that. But it doesn't mean that it didn't happen. Men are drugged and women will put the date rape drug in a man's drink. This is how these women are having these babies by these NBA and NFL stars. They want a baby that bad, so they drug them, go to the hotel with them, have sex with them in hopes of getting pregnant. So these are some real things that's going on. But you'd be like, oh my God, that ain't happening because I just saw it on a movie. But this is real stuff. If I have a baby by an NBA player, it's on and popping. So it's like, how desperate are you? You know, so we have to get out of it and thinking that is gender specific, because it's not gender specific. When somebody has perversion, they're just perverted, whether it's a man or a woman. So with that sexual abuse, let's just erase that right now. If I'm married and I don't want to give you none, yes, you can get, but what happens is it usually turns violent. at that point. You know, I know that women are beat because they not giving it up. I was one of those women that, even because I was in a teenage domestic violence relationship, and when I said no, I used to get a black eye, a busted lip, and still have it taken. So it's really that way. Now, a husband could get mad and he'll make it as, you know, this is the reason why I'm out cheating or whatever. But no stills me no, because at some point you just get to the point that you're going to use any excuse to do what you want anyway, you know?
Yeah, because I was going to say that about married. A lot of marriages, it's not reported that there's rape, but there is rape happening in marriages. It's scared. Wives are scared to report it because of the repercussions. So it's a lot. If you ain't got no consent, it's a no. No is no. Period. I don't care if you're a man or woman. No is no.
Exactly.
And
she right.
She went into the next one, which is physical abuse. You know, I was also reading about this because Google is your friend. Don't just
Google don't always have reliable sources, Dawn.
All you're saying is reliable sources. If you're not checking reliable sources, then we can't talk, because I am a fact checker. I will fact check everything.
Check those facts, boo.
All
check
I was gonna say was physical abuse. What I was reading, most of the time there's a trigger for men or females that cause them to be physically abused. That was it. Y'all gonna stop jumping on me today. I don't know what's going on.
What do you mean by that?
What do you mean by that? Explain.
In the article I was reading, pretty much. Whew, y'all scaring me now. I'm about to get scared.
You're scared to
I'm feeling abused right now. I'm feeling abused. In the article I was reading, pretty much,
abused, y'all.
In the article I was reading, pretty much they were saying that, like, for example, she wouldn't clean the house, and he came in and he said, well, why you didn't clean the house? And it went into further of her giving an explanation, and because of the explanation, it triggered him to hit her.
Well, here's the thing with the triggers. Let's just deal with the triggers. In most relationships, the problem ain't the problem. So whether she cleaned the house or not, that's not the problem.
He just wanted to beat her.
He was going to find a reason to beat her. Okay?
Very much. I mean, physical abuse. It might have been that someone in his family, like she said earlier, it might be the fact that someone he might have saw his father beating his mother, and he felt like that's what I'm supposed to do. That's how you show you love somebody. You beat their ass, which is not true, but that's how some people feel. Some people feel that if it's something that you see all the time, then that's normal for you. And if it's not done that way, it's not normal.
But I do believe a lot of people are missing the accountability part in this, because not everybody grew up with who is violent, have grew up with violence in their home. They are just an abuser, because like, I know people, including myself, when I was going through domestic violence, my abuser didn't grow up in a home that his parents were abusing him or abusing each other, or the father beating the mom beating him. So it was like, when he did it, his mother couldn't explain. Like, she couldn't even imagine, because not how he was raised. So the point of it all is the individual. So a lot of people did grow up seeing that, but there's something. What about this one? He didn't grow up seeing it.
Was there ever, like, I don't want to get too personal, but
no, but go ahead.
Did you ever ask, like, further down the line, like, what happened? Like, what possessed you to do this?
Of course I did, because I was a part of our growing. You know what I'm saying? Like, in order for me to have fully moved,
move forward.
Closure from the situation, because it wasn't like that was just a boyfriend and somebody who I could just get past. It wasn't like that. So I needed closure, and so when I did ask him and we had the conversation, it was a heavy conversation for him, because he didn't want to admit how bad he was. And then once he really broke it down, he said he don't know why. He was like, he was jealous because I had a lot of family, and I was always able to go out and do what I wanted to do. And he just wanted me to revolve around like his world, and I would not do that. So he thought it was best to control me, however he can control me. So
So he, so he thought if he blacked your eye, you wouldn't go outside.
yeah, I mean, but it worked. It worked. It
You
worked.
ain't gonna go outside with a black eye. So I get.
I go outside with a black eye. So I'm gonna be right here in this house with this black eye. And put into whatever I need to tend to in here with this black. I'm not going around my family. My family gonna kill you. I'm a daddy's girl. My father was devastated when he did find this stuff out years later. Once I started doing the domestic violence showcases, the domestic violence awareness that me and Coco was doing. My father and my brothers were devastated. They didn't even know that stuff was happening. And that's another thing. You keep this type of stuff inside. You know, like it wasn't like people knew. People didn't know. People had no clue. So what he did worked. I was so I'm going to pick a fight with you, and he overpowered me. And you overpower me, you whip my ass.
That's the thing I don't understand is like, you know, you have people out there that will help. But why won't women or even men, why won't, you know, you
Why don't people ask for help?
Yeah, why won't you ask for help?
It's for one thing, it's embarrassing to feel when you find yourself in a domestic violence relationship. Who just gonna go out? For me, when I was in a domestic violence relationship, I was like the ringleader of my crew, like you know. So I'm tough, and I'm like. Here I am. I have this street image of being tough. My friends think that I'm the strongest one in the crew, but I'm getting beat. And I mean, like beat down, like knocked out while I was 6 months pregnant and stuff. And you have these things that that's going on with you, and you're embarrassed. Not only that, this dude, he was like, let me tell you something. If you try to leave, I know your mother be getting off the train at Rockaway Avenue. I'm gonna catch her. Like, it was all kinds of stuff. And so when somebody is threatening you to that capacity, because usually somebody that's real in it, they threaten your life, and you be like, you it's not something for you to play with or take lightly that we playing, and no, don't try to kiss my boo-boo after you do it. You know, it was times in this relationship where I only remember parts of the fight, because I remember being knocked out in the street and wake up laying in the bed, face swollen. So it was that serious, and nobody addressed it. Like, yes, he had a bunch of sisters, they would try to help me or whatever, but guess what? He would beat all of us, but it was in their family. It was something that he watched his father do. It was in their family. But at the same time, even when I'm like, okay, so how do I went to the police. I ended up going to the police because my parents took me to get the order of protection. But can I tell you something? That wasn't no protection, because by the time wherever he saw me at, he whooped my behind.
Right, an order of protection is just a piece of paper. By the time it's enforced, he already beat your ass.
Exactly.
And that's the problem.
To me, that doesn't make it. Order of protection to me is very stupid. Oh, you can't be 500 feet in front of this. How the hell do the police know that? Even if the police were right there, they wouldn't know that she has an order of protection against him, and he could still beat her ass.
And it's just worse now than it was back then. Like, you know, back when I was getting beat, which was really in the 80s, in my teenage years. Because what happened to me is I was getting abused, but then I became the abuser. So that made me like I would, it was a cycle, because then now I'm in relationships with men that don't hit women, but I'm going to give you this fight. Like, I would get in their face, I would hit them, I would do stuff, because that's all I knew was the fight. I wanted the fight. Now you ain't going to say whatever you want to say to me before I black out, and you're going to get these hands. And I had to understand that that's a very dangerous place to be. So there's 3 cycles when somebody is an abuser. When somebody is an abuser, this first cycle is the tension building cycle, and that's when when the abuser starts to get angry, and that's where the abuse may begin. They can be angry about anything. Most of these dudes that beat women, they beat women. They don't beat men. You know what I'm saying? Most of them don't get down like that. They only go after what is vulnerable. You know what I'm saying? There's a breakdown of communication. The victim feels the need to keep the abuser calm. And what that means is that, oh, honey, you know, like when you watch Ike and Tina, how she always wanted to, like, I'm still cooking, still making sure, a nervous wreck, making sure that his temper doesn't flare up and stuff like that. And then it becomes then you start to feel like you're walking on eggshells because, listen, kids, be quiet because he going to beat all of us in this house. Type thing, you know, oh my God, you can't hold a conversation after work because you got to be home by a certain time because most times they're accusing you of being with somebody and you like, I know you crazy. What makes you think I like a black guy? What makes you think that I like to fight? Because your initial time, and I just say your initial time because it has to come to a point to where you be like, enough already. I can't live this lifestyle. I can't even walk down a block without you trying to fight me and stuff and fighting you no matter where you are. You know, every woman has their tale or whatever, but it's when weapons get involved and or whatever, the average woman cannot beat a man. That's the first thing that we have to understand. You got to get.
I happen to disagree. I happen to disagree. I know some tough women out there. I'm just saying, I know some tough women out there.
Oh yeah, now we're some tough ones, but the average woman.
She said the average woman, which means the majority.
The majority of women we cannot withstand a punch from a guy. The average woman can't beat a guy. When I knew that it was time for me to go is because I would think about killing him in his sleep. Mm-hmm. But I was so fearful of him that I was like, it better work. It's like a one shot, one kill. Because I would see him running after me. With the bullet hole or with like I'm like, oh, and you gotta hit him in the right place or make sure that he's knocked out because he might, if he come after me, he's gonna kill me. It wasn't until
at any point did you feel like, let me just leave? Let me just try to leave. I tried
to leave. I tried to leave several times. I did leave.
But what did you see? What love got to do with it? Tina left several times. I came and got her ass.
I did leave.
I mean, that's a movie, versus real life.
Story though.
But that's even when I left though, it's like it wasn't until my maternal instinct kicked in because when I got with him, I didn't have any children. But when my son was born, I felt the need to protect my son, and that's when I was like, enough is enough. Like you're not going to keep beating on me, and I got this baby to protect. And when that kicked in, something changed. I began to fight back. It's one thing to get beat, and it's another thing to fight back. I was getting beat, but the first time that I hit him back, it shook him. Like it shook him. He like, whoa, like he had to back because he wasn't used to me swinging on him. And I was like, if I only get this one punch in, you're going to know how tired I am. And we rumbled in the street because he had came and took my baby. I had just had my son. I was walking up the block in my with my baby stroller, minding my business, me and my girl. And he just walked up. It's my son, and thought he was going to walk off with my son. Hold up. No, it ain't going down like that today. We'll both get locked up. And that's when it would change. But honestly, I really, truly have to say that we always have a way out. God always gives you a way out, and you have to recognize that way out. That one time that you stay, it could be your life that is at stake. We always be like, he'll punch me, but he ain't going to kill me. He going to kill you, and he going to kill the kids. All of my friends that have been killed by domestic violence, when I look at the perpetrator, I'm like, wow, I never even saw that coming, because not all the time does it have to be somebody that is violent. It could be somebody that has some other issues going on. Like, for one, this guy that killed my best friend, he was so quiet that I was like, when they was like, yeah, he killed her. He killed her, and then he killed himself. He wasn't argumentative or nothing. There was no form of violence going on. He just killed her and killed himself. And so these people are people that plot. And if you try to leave, you think that you're not going to come out your job. How many women walk out their job? What about the girl in the T-Mobile store where he set her on fire? You know, these dudes will go to some, and I'm like, why keep me if you got to beat me? Like, I'm not understanding.
They need somebody to control. People like to have control, and you need somebody to control. And my situation was never public. It was never public at all because I have a huge ass family, and they would have killed his ass on contact. So it was never a public thing for me. But when I did leave, it was because it had nothing to do with my kids, because he was never violent to the kids. It was everything to do with me. I knew that this wasn't it. I was like, this ain't it. And Lord knows the closest friend to me, like, I mean, you would think she was in my soul. She happened to come into the house and saw us fighting, and she jumped on his back. She couldn't even believe what was going on, but she definitely saved me. And I said it. I said, if I had prayed to God, because in that moment we were like fighting and it was bad. It got so bad he kicked me in my head with a Timberland boot. And I was like, God, if you let me leave, I will never return. Like, if you let me leave, I will never return here. You ain't got to worry about me coming back. Because he's not going to try to come out here to my family house and try me. Because they didn't know. And
right, but now you have a witness. You have somebody who can attest to what was going on. So it's not like he could be like, nah, that didn't happen.
I got up out of there though. Like that was it. I got up out of there, and believe it or not, the cops did not give me my kids. So they didn't give me the kids. They said that they cannot give me the kids because that was a family court issue. So he kept the kids for a whole month. He would not let me see the kids, speak to the kids, nothing. He kept them for a whole month. And then so I was going down to a family court or whatever, and then my mother, she just happened, she was like, why, like, where's the kids? Like, you know, like, what's going on or whatever, because she didn't know I was out the house. So only person who knew was my friend Etney. So I finally got them. He actually was like, I'm gonna give you the kids. I don't want to do this to them or whatever. Because, you know, but he couldn't, the cops would not give me my kids. I called the cops, they would not give me my children.
That's the thing in New York, because in New York, that's the case. They be like, when he came to get my son, when my son was a baby, and he was like, I want my son, the cops was like, is he the father? And I was like, yeah, I should have said no. But they was like, if he's the father and you don't have custody of your child, then he can take that baby to Idaho, and it's nothing that we can do about it. So so what happens when, this is my advice to every woman, if you're not married to dude, or even if you are married and you go to the court and get custody of your child, because it's your child and you don't have a leg to, because there's not too many states that be like, it's just so, because you think that that's my child, that's my boyfriend, but if he's the father, he's the father. And I
have a question on that. So you don't have custody, but he don't have custody either. So why the hell is it that he can have the kids, but you can't?
Because if
that's what I was going to ask.
It's not about your body, not his.
No, but it's not. That's when it becomes a family court issue. So here's the thing: the baby just happened to be in my possession at the time, so they can't take the baby out of my possession and give him the child. But if he had the baby, if the baby was in his custody and I went to get him and he was like, "Nah, you're not getting him," then the police will be like, "Well, it's nothing we can do. You got to go to family court."
I thought you were saying that they were saying that the father is the person who gets the child. Whoever is in possession of the child at the time. Right. So possession is 9/10 of the law.
Right. So
I wish I would have knew that. I probably would have had less stress in my life.
As long as the kids are not abused, as long as the kids do not show abuse, and they're not scared, they can stay with the other parent.
That's the problem. Like they say, show abuse. There are many times that it's not just physical abuse. Children are mentally abused and verbally abused.
But when a kid is scared, when a kid is scared, especially kids that are young, it sometimes register like on their body, their face and stuff like that. And if they come, like police will come and like look at the children or whatever, and they'll speak. And if the kid is not scared, they get to stay. Like, you gotta prove it. And so I'm a living witness. They did not give me my children. I'm telling you now, they did not give me my children. I did not have the kids. And
but that's correct. My whole thing is it's crazy because you were physically abused.
Huh?
Like he like physically abused you. So my whole thing is if I'm showing signs of being physically abused, how do you know he's not gonna physically abuse my children?
I
But
didn't.
it's not for the police to make that decision. The police come, that's their job. But that's a family court issue. They're not gonna be like oh, I'm gonna take the child. That's not the first. That's the police don't have that assignment. Anything domestic, the police can lock. At some point, they can lock both of y'all up, depending, and take the children out the house if it's that serious. But they don't have that jurisdiction to say that that child can go with that mother at that point if the father has custody. Because just like Miss Karen said, a custody has to be established. That's the point. Came out my womb, but it got to be established. It's my child, and so it has to be established in order for them to
I
rule
only
on it.
said that because just because they had never beat the child before, but now you're no longer in the house to stop the child from being abused. So who's to say that the police leave that child with whoever, mother or father, doesn't matter, he or she, and then they're like, well, I can't abuse him or her. I'm gonna start abusing these kids. And what happens? And then if the child is this, there's so many cases with Child Protective Services, like these parents they have cases. They leave the damn child in the house with the parent, and then the parent winds up killing the child.
But so you got to remember, CPS is a human service. It's like that's a human service field. That's a human service.
I know what you mean,
right? So that's people are human. People they are led by the law of the state, right? But if in cases like Nick's Mary Brown, the little boy who was just beaten to death by his father in Harlem,
right. Well,
it's like you have to go through all these channels. They are only human. So if by law this is what they got
to change the law.
Of course they but this is why, like, you already know we could get into this public administration on another day. But at the end of the day,
yes.
This is why you have people such as myself that go and we have to petition for these bills and laws to be changed because they are one size fit all, and it's not a one size fit all for situations. In my case, their dad was not abusive to them. So these children were very loved, and they didn't have no abuse. To this day, he won't even yell at these children. But meanwhile, back at the ranch, I was getting beat the hell up, and I would fight back. But at my power, I always lost. Like, I wasn't like I could overpower the man, And Lord knows this is 10. I'm 10 years from this, so this is not something. Like, we have children, we have to coexist. We have spoken, I have given him clearly. Everybody knows. Like, and he's a better man today, and I'm glad for him. But it was very hard to get to a place of peace. But we got this. He ain't my.
All right, ladies, I need just 30 seconds. I gotta pay some bills real quick.
All right, I gotta go get me a snack anyway.
We're paying some bills. We'll be right back.
Looking to podcast shows and do not know where to start? The Evening Rush Network can help you with that. Call us at 929-441-2417 or email us at theeveningrushnetwork@gmail.com for dates and prices. We got you for all your podcast needs. The Evening Rush Network. Tune in, subscribe, and share.
Welcome back.
I couldn't get my sweater in time. So I had to put this on instead. Got a little chilly in here.
We got LaTonya Smiley in the building. We got Precious in the building. We're talking about domestic violence. The topic.
Something I wish we didn't have to talk about.
No, I'm happy
I wish this was something we didn't have to talk about. I wish there was no such thing as domestic violence because it's horrible.
Yes, definitely. And that's the reason why I want to talk about it, so that
right,
there's
because
signs.
Some people don't know they're being abused.
Signs, if you see the signs, you can try to get away.
You just say some Karen, right? That was Karen who said that. Yep.
I was gonna get to that. Mama Karen. Yeah, Mama Karen did ask that question. So Mama Karen asked, "What are the signs? What signs? Excuse me. I'm sorry, guys. What signs would you want women to pay attention to?"
For the most part, is that love doesn't hurt, period. But if you're the first time a man hit you, you could be like, oh, it was an accident or things got heated. That is the first sign when you feel verbal abuse, that he's talking to you, making you feel as though you don't matter, making you feel worthless and stuff like that. Using intimidation, making you afraid by looks, actions, or gestures and stuff like that. If he has a temper that at one point now you might just see him punching walls and stuff like that. Eventually it's going to be you. Treating you as property and stuff, has weapons in the house, just anger and weapons alone don't go together. The use of emotional abuse, putting you down, making you feel bad about yourself, calling you names. I don't know why we think that that's so cute for somebody to call you out your name. If you don't, if anything other than Tanya or my nickname or whatever that you may have for me is unacceptable.
And stuff like that. That's the only thing I'm listening to.
Making you think that this is a big one. Isolation. A very big thing that I understand I went through is that they try to keep you away from your family and your friends. So you can't go nowhere unless he's going with you. You can't I couldn't go see my mother. Everything was an issue. What you going, because they're afraid that the secret is going to get out. So what they do is they try to isolate, controlling what you do, controlling where you go. They want to even know what you're reading. What you're reading that book for? If you're reading a book to burn in bed, if you're reading.
And I was just watching that movie. That's what really sparked all of that.
Sometimes that is the first sign, like isolation. Like some people will try to get you away so they could beat your ass, and then nobody knows.
Yeah, they want all of the attention. Codependency. That's a big sign for women to look into. If a man does not, men or women, if this person does not want you nowhere else or without them when you go somewhere, run, because that's not normal. Everybody needs their own time and own.
Yeah, everybody needs their alone time and their time with their friends.
Yes,
I mean, I think
if they ain't got no friends, if they ain't got no friends,
I think it's a lot of insecurity.
It is.
That sparks most of the violence. To me, that's just my personal opinion.
I can agree.
Maybe him or her.
They. Just say they.
Okay, I'm trying to find the right words.
They.
Y'all was getting at me the other day. It should be people. But
right.
People in general, if they're insecure, they have jealousy issues. Those are, to me, would be signs that something's not right.
Yeah.
But a lot of people ignore the jealousy. They think, okay, he's just being, it's cute. He's just being jealous. It ain't nothing. Versus, that's a sign that something's not right. Maybe I should look deeper into the situation. Like, look for that red flag. What do y'all think?
You always have to look. These days, you always got to look for the red flag. You don't know if you dating Freddy Krueger or not, so you just got to be on point with it.
Freddy or Jason.
That's right, and make sure that you're not ignoring the signs. We brush a lot of stuff off, but if that stuff is in them, it is in them, and it is bound to come out. I don't care how much he say he love you. And another thing that we don't listen to, we don't research. I research. Sometimes you be like, why did the ex-girlfriend say that? Oh, she just saying that. If she tell you that he used to beat her.
Not the beating part,
but he ain't gonna do that.
I'm crazy. That does not necessarily mean I'm crazy.
It don't mean that you crazy, but it's something that I gotta keep in my mind. I'm not gonna just dismiss it because y'all not together. If you know her, you be like, can I just ask you a question? Why y'all not together? And she say that nigga used to whoop my. Then you better take it as such and keep it in the front. Look, you can hold it, but the first time he like, oh yeah, it's true. You know what I'm saying?
You gotta use your wings.
You have to understand that we don't take things seriously. Oh, it's never gonna happen to me. My same homegirls that used to be like, T, if that was me, when it became them, it was something different. I know what you're going through now. Because people always like, I don't know. And they will be like, you stupid for staying. I was like, yeah, but at the same time, I might be stupid, but I'm living. I was young. I didn't know how to handle that, how to just up and leave. And then when I would go to the shelter, to the abuse shelter, I would tell them where I'm at. So I might as well live with them. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't even believe that.
You're going to tell them where you're at.
It's no way that somebody in their right mind could think that that's okay. Can I tell you something? Most women that go through that have daddy issues. Have some type of issue that they have. It's not a girl that's just been, her father is just ordered, because you would understand your worth. Usually women that stay in those situations have, and I'm not saying all of them, a majority of the women that go through that have some form of daddy issue. So when you're trying to put him in the place of your father, or you give him that access to you, that, oh, he tell me where to go, he tell me what to do because he love me. Now that's control. But you have to get past your pain, your trauma that you came into the relationship with, to know that you don't deserve that. Because I'm telling you, Betty Wright said having a piece of man is better than having no man at all. But that ain't true, because you want to be able to make it out of the relationship alive.
But listen, what I can say that as far as daddy issues, I can't get where you coming from with that, but that's not everybody's case. Because for me, and everybody knows I'm a daddy's girl. I don't have daddy issues at all. My situation was embarrassment. My situation was wanting to make my family work, because I thought that that's what I was supposed to do. Everybody around me is married. Mother, cousins, aunts, everybody. I was the only one who wasn't. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to make...
All right. We got a caller.
Oh, that was rude.
Thank you for calling the Evening Rush. How are you doing? Hello? Hello.
Okay.
Hello, how are you?
They banged on us. Precious, go back to your story.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry, Precious.
That's okay. Like I was saying, it's a lot of factors that can go into it, but I can understand where you will come from with daddy issues. I just know that, like I said, I was young, I was unmarried, and I wanted to make this work. And I did not want nobody to know that it was a fail. And the shit was the biggest fail of a lifetime. And when my family found out that this was a failure and I was trying to get out of it, and they didn't know until late, they were devastated. They were hurt. My father was really hurt. I didn't tell him. I didn't have no daddy issues. Trust me, I wasn't trying to replace my dad. I just wanted to make this. I wanted to make us four work. I wanted us to be successful. My cousins, they were all married and they all happy. I'm just like, okay.
Was your mother and father married?
But you don't feel it. Mm-hmm.
So they were together at the time when this was happening?
No, my mother and father had already divorced.
No, because I was gonna say maybe it was like you said, you wanted to make your family work. I was about to say maybe because you saw so many happy families, but you said your mother and father were already divorced.
They were already divorced. My mother and my father was already divorced. Period. My mother was with someone and my father was with someone or whatever. But everybody around, like everybody was married in my family. Everybody. I seen more marriages than I seen just single people just walking around here. So
that's why I'm asking, was it like you were staying because you loved that person regardless of how he was treating you?
I was loved, but now I know I was just young and dumb. I was young and dumb. I was 19. I got married at 20. Like I just knew that this was something that you were supposed to do. I knew that was my path to take for life. And so everybody looked happy. So I'm like, well, I can't be happy. So I tried to force that happiness. You know what I'm saying? Like I wanted it to work. I wanted us to work. If I had it my way, I would still have been married now. Like, with my 2 kids and the dad. But that just didn't happen. And I thought I loved him, but that wasn't love. I was just young. And so
same question to you, LaTonya.
Infatuation.
Was it love or what made you stay?
For me, my situation was different. I was molested in the house, and so when I ran away from home, I felt truly, for me, it was better to get beat up than be molested. Truth be told. So for me, it was like out of the fire into the frying pan, and because my father was my abuser, it was crazy. So I really felt that that my abuser was able to protect me. He would keep me safe or whatever. But also I watched my mother go through it with my dad. And so I watched her get beat, and I was like, oh, this must be what it was, because I was in this relationship at 15 years old. And it was I thought that it was okay. You know, I went to my first prenatal appointment with 2 black eyes, and I saw up and down. It was like, did your baby father do this? I was like, no, girl, I was breaking up a fight. And I mean, black eyes where the blood vessels is all broke up in your eyes. And for many years, you know, I had a permanent black eye from him that did not go away. And but I didn't stay for love. I stayed because I thought that it was something that was gonna go away. But you better believe the first time I got a way out, I was like, when I made up in my mind, and for me, it was for me to become a mother, for me to be like, oh no, you can't beat both of us. But I knew that it was hereditary in him, because all of the boys in the family beat the women, and all of the sisters were beaten by their boyfriends, and they thought that was normal. And I'm like, this is for the birds, because this is painful. You know, this is really painful. So it wasn't me trying to make nothing work. Don't ask me to marry me. It was strict control. If you leave and I find you, you already know what's going to happen. What saved my life for me is that he ended up getting locked up for murder. He ended up getting locked up when my son was 2, because I had went to the prison to see him after he got locked up, and he still was calling, making threats from prison. Like, when I get home, it's still going. Like, I'm like, this dude is crazy. And I remember,
like, nothing that's gonna stop him, huh?
Nothing wasn't gonna
but
stop
you
him.
But you making threats on the police line that they are already listening to.
You don't even understand. I went to see him, and I did not bring my son. I'll give you this one visit to let you know that it's over. And he tortured me the whole time as I sat at the table. He was pinching me. Like, I was crying because he had my skin in his hand, and he had his teeth like this. And I'm like, security or whoever, somebody, he was hurting me as I sat there. And I was like, oh my gosh, I was a lucky one, because he was locked up. My son, he got locked up when my son was 2. He came home, my son was 18 when he came home from jail. And, even when he came home from jail, he came home different. Like, but he still would call, like, up until I think the first 5 or 7 years, he would threaten me. You don't let my parents bring my son. Ain't none of y'all psychos taking my son nowhere. Like, nah, he's not coming to get you. It wasn't until my son was old enough to make a decision when he wanted to see his dad that I let him go, because he wanted to go see his father, and I let him go see his father. But even that, my son was like, I got things to do on my weekend. I ain't gonna be going back and forth to jail.
Did you know about the abuse?
I explained it to him when he was older, because when my son got married, he wanted me to walk down. It didn't matter at first because his father was locked up, so the story didn't matter. You know, and one thing I believe in, that as a mother, I would never talk negative about my children's father. As a woman, that's not who I am. You know, I'm not going to say, because you're going to see. Before I even tell you, you're going to see. Yeah. And what happened is, my son wanted me to walk down the aisle with his dad for his wedding. I was like, I'm not going to be able to do it or whatever. And, you know, I explained to him, you know, why things was the way that they was, and that I was beat. And as a man, he had that conversation with his dad. But when his dad came home from prison, he was somebody different. Like, yeah, he was a different person, but still, you're going to be over there. We're not going to be in the same space. But
just that's in case you decide you want to revert back to the old you.
I don't understand. He got married in jail. And even the girl that he married, the woman that he married or whatever, they had what you call them conjugal visits. And she coming out beat up, and I'm not understanding. I'm like, how you go to a conjugal visit and you beat up? So
all around problem.
This is just it was really, really, really bad. You know, I mean, years later, I'm gonna say maybe in 2005. Maybe he apologized, you know, I'm sorry for beating you or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, you know, because words is words. At some point, words are words. But it was never ever love for me. It was daggone what you call it? It was dysfunction. Because remember, I told you, now after him, And after maybe one more abusive relationship, after that, I became the abuser. Now, every time I want to control the relationship, and when I can't, I'm gonna punch you in your face, and I'm gonna do that. I started like joining in the fight. Like you want it, we're gonna do it because I'm not scared no more. So that's how you become. That's crazy because you know dudes be like, Tanya used to beat me, and I'll be feeling bad because it just was a vicious cycle. It becomes a vicious cycle. You know, we see it a lot. We don't in the homosexuality community, we think that it's not so. And teenagers have more domestic violence, just as much domestic violence as adults now. And we got to pay attention to the signs of what's going on, that our daughters are being beaten even under the age of 17. They're being beaten by their boyfriends, and we have to pay attention. What happened to you?
No. I'm not mine. Yeah, I lose it too quickly. It just takes one. And that's the thing I like to ask questions to my
scratching
kids.
your face. Where it come from?
Yeah.
Even the conversation, when you hear the conversation of your children and somebody's asking them, you know, where you at or whatever, these kids got doors these days. We didn't have no doors. Like we didn't have no cell phones. So
the bottom.
So you let your kids go in a room and shut the door, or we in the car together and you can't have the conversation in front of me. Why is he asking you where you're at? You're not his wife. You're not you're still a teenager. Why is he trying to control you? We have to pay attention to those things. It's very important that we pay attention to the signs and don't let them slip through the crack, because we burying too many of our daughters because of this, and we acting like the community is acting like they don't know what's going on. Right.
And like I told you, a lot of us grew up with the whole notion of, you know, our parents telling us whatever goes on in this house stays in this house.
Exactly.
And because we grew up on that notion, it was like we tried to do it. We got a caller. What's up, caller? This the Evening Rush. How you feeling? You got to turn down your phone.
The community is acting like they don't know what's going on.
Hello?
Right.
Hello?
Yeah, you got to turn down your phone. Yeah, you got to turn down your phone.
Or your computer, whatever you're using.
Okay, she banged on.
But yeah, my kids were young, so they don't remember the stuff that was happening in the house. But we definitely have to pay attention to these children and what they are exposed to, because it's never a good thing. And then as far as teenagers, I remember being young. I remember I was doing a job. I was doing summer youth. I was like 14 or whatever, and I would never forget this girl told me, she was like, yeah, I need a dude who gonna take control. I need a dude who gonna, now we 14, 14 years old. I need a dude who's gonna take control. I need one to say, come here, bitch. I was like, no, I knew that was not how you supposed to talk to them. I'm like, and exactly. I just would not understand, like, when women respond to their man, if their man called them a bitch, and I just be like, excuse me, that's abuse. Like, because they respond to, you know, she at 14 years old, she wanted somebody who was rough and tough and who was going to rough and tough her out. Like, she didn't say she wanted to get plunged, but she definitely was like, you know, grab me by my neck, take control. And I was like, oh my God, that sounds scary. Like, I don't know what that is. Like, why would you want that at 14 years old? This is how teenagers get up.
All right. Sorry, we got another caller. Hello, caller. You're on live with the Evening Rush. How can I help you? Hello, caller.
Hello.
I hear you. Yes. How are you doing? Okay. Oh. I don't know what's going on over there.
Something. Well, because teenagers, we have to pay attention to the teenagers too. The teenagers are definitely in more domestic situations.
Hello, caller. How are you? Caller?
Hello?
Yes, how are you doing? You're live with the Evening Rush.
Hello?
Hello, you're live with the Evening Rush. You have to turn your phone down. You can hear us better.
Hello?
Hello? Can you hear us?
But Keisha,
Yeah, what's wrong with your phone?
we can
We
hear
hear you.
you.
We hear you fine.
I couldn't hear nobody. That's why I kept saying hello, hello. That's
Okay.
what happened last time. That must be why the first caller hung up too.
Okay. Well, you got to definitely turn down the phone in the background or computer. But how are you doing?
I'm good. How y'all doing?
We're good. You're in live with Miss LaTonya Smiley.
Hi, butter. Hi, Keisha.
Hi, everybody. So I had a few comments. I done lost my train of thought. So, I not watched, but I know my mother had gotten abused when I was younger. And she watched her mom get abused by my grandfather when she was younger. Um, and my mom was a big woman, and she was somebody that nobody fucked with, but she was in these abusive relationships. So me being young, I said I'm not allowing that to happen to me. Not not happening. And now that I've gotten older, in hindsight, I see that I was the abuser, physical abuser in my relationship because I'm gonna hit you before you hit me.
Mm.
And that's how it started. And I didn't realize that that was what I was doing until one of Precious and Coco's um, events where my daughter spoke up. And what happened was when she was younger, her father had flung the phone, and at that time it had the call ID box, and it had hit me in my head. And she started screaming at him and was like, "Why you hit my mom? Why you hit my mom?" But I had to calm her down. Even though I was bleeding, I had to calm her down. We left, it wasn't abuse. Like I said again, him and I had like maybe 2 fights before, but was me hitting him first and she wasn't around. But I think she said that when she saw that hit me, she was not allowing nobody to hit her. And she actually became abusive. And I sat at this, you know, event and heard my baby talk and I was like, OMG. Like I said I wouldn't be abused. But here I am being the abuser and now my daughter is the abuser as well. My excuse for being the abuser was one, I'm gonna hit first. Two, you did it for me to you did something to me and my defense is to hit you. Which now I know is wrong. But at the time that it was going on, that was my excuse. And I stayed with it. You caused it.
Wow. I'm lost for words.
Yeah, it was definitely heavy when
Yeah.
she spoke. It was definitely heavy, and Keisha was definitely shocked when she heard.
Well, I'm
When she
lost for
heard her
words
daughter,
because
yeah.
that's the part that got me lost for words. Having your daughter speak of her pain is just like mind blowing.
It wasn't really pain. It was just she knew that that wasn't something that she was going to allow. And like I said, it wasn't that she saw us fighting. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She just saw her mom strong and she's going to beat up whoever. That's just how she was. You understand what I'm saying? But it took her saying that I realized that I was being the abuser. Now, I also said that I would never be in an abusive relationship. But again, in hindsight, that relationship that I was in, it was abusive because he was mentally abusing me. And even though I was trying to be strong, again, me in hindsight now seeing it, he did things that I would not have allowed anybody else to do. And then my defense was, I'm going to fuck him up. And that's what
mentally
I did.
abused you and you physically abused him.
Exactly.
So why at any point did you think, okay, maybe this wasn't the right relationship and try to steer away?
It took a really hard blow for me to just like walk away. And then it also took my daughter telling me like straight up, like anybody who knows my daughter don't bite her tongue for nothing. And she told me straight up, she was like, yo, what is wrong with you? Like, I've never seen you like that. I saw you pack up a house, a whole house, 3-floor house, in the time that it took me to go to school and come home. She was like, what is wrong with you? Like, why are you allowing this man to do this to you? And I had to sit in it and feel it. And I woke up.
Gotcha.
I woke up and I was like, it's not worth me fighting because he keeps doing the same thing over and over and over again. So it took me, it took that talk from my child, for me to really feel it, me to sit in it. And then also, like, the type of work that I do, just seeing that I was abusive. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I had to stop the cycle because I couldn't blame me being abusive on his actions.
Mm.
So it took a while for me to realize, and that and then I had to look at it and I see these women and I'm like, damn, I'm sounding like the man in the women in the relationship with who's abusing the women. You understand what I'm saying? So I can't continue to use that as an excuse because it's not a good excuse.
Yeah, and that's the truth.
I'm actually happy that you were able to realize that, that you were becoming the abuser. And you were able to get away from that
she was the abuser.
Yeah.
And that was the parallel between Coco and I. Like, I was abused and she was the abuser. And it was just like, oh my God, like,
a lot of I don't know, most of us know Coco and we know that she's a strong woman. So I guess they didn't find it like out of the ordinary that she was but most people don't think men can be abused, period. And that's the whole thing. They always think it's the woman who is abused and the man is always the abuser.
No, there are a lot of men that
until he knocks her head off, and then once he knocks her head off for hitting him, then it's then he is the bad guy. But there are a lot of men even that I had to counsel that have gone through abuse, and these is big muscular men or whatever, but they're in a position where as they were raised not to hit women. There are some men that are not going to hit you, even if you're backed into a corner. That's not who they are. But at the same time, I feel that, like I tell my daughters, and I have 5 daughters, don't put your hand on a man expecting that he's not going to hit you back, because eventually he gonna hit you back and you're not going to like it. And that's when the relationship becomes toxic. Keep your hands to yourself. And women need to understand that grown people do grown things. We want to be in these relationships and we want to tell him where to go, what to do when things don't work your way. Go your way, you want to fight. And that's not even ladylike. My daughter's seen me so strong that now they feel that they have to be strong. Can I tell you something? I want to wear the skirt. I don't want to have the pants on all the time. When I'm in a relationship, I want to be cared for. I want to be the nurturer that women are called to be. I don't want to be the dude in a relationship. But we go through this thing when we don't deal with our trauma, where we think that I got to be your equal in this relationship, and that's not how it is. But it takes a period of growing up for you to understand. Your place as a woman is a nurturer. The husband is the head of the household. So that's how it is supposed to be. He is supposed to be the authoritative figure, and you're supposed to carry out and make sure that they are enforced in the household. But we don't know that because our mothers were strong and all of this stuff. And it's just a whole dysfunctional cycle that we think that when we're not, it just repeats itself. And and you see it in your daughters, and that's when you get disgusted. When my daughter called me, any one of my daughters called me in the middle of the night crying, oh, we got into it, the police had to come, all of that. That's not something that I want to hear. It makes me want to ride, but I know at the same time, even if I ride, even if I send my sons to take care of it, then my sons is locked up, and guess what? They right back together on the down low. They don't want nobody to know that they still together, but they still together. And so we have to understand as women what our place is. That comes with being mature. When I grew up, I understood that I'm a woman, I'm a lady. Ladies have certain etiquette about them. And that changed the dynamic of it. That ladies are really just you going word for word. He's a grown man. Grown men do what they want to do. What y'all was fighting for? Oh, because he thought he was going out. Let him go out. Y'all fought and he still went out. He wanted to do this. Let him do it. He's grown. He's grown. He's not your property. He's grown. Grown people do grown stuff. But we get in these relationships with our issues, and he's like, oh, he gotta do what I say, because this is how my mother was, this is how my aunt was. And when you really see them, how miserable are they? If that's the case, give me a mustache and a beard and let me be a dude. Because that's it for me. I'm a lady. I want you to care for me. But if we don't show them our worth and we acting like we dudes in front of them or we tough, that's how they going. That's how they gonna be. That's how you gonna get treated. You get what you give. You act like you want it, you gonna get it if you get the right dude. I know Brooklyn dudes didn't play that. I don't think none of them was raised not to hit girls, because I ain't encountered one. Well,
I was.
And I definitely told my sons, like, we had the conversations. They got enough girl cousins. They have an older sister. You don't need to put your hand on a female. And I understand sometimes it might be hard, but you better off from walking away. And women, to really piggyback off your conversation, I do believe that women do not channel their femininity and who they are supposed to be, because that's not how a lot of women are raised. You're not raised to be soft. And so if we change the narrative of what a woman is supposed to be, like from young, when we are raising these ladies up, I'm not raising you to be a wife, but not my son to be a husband. If that makes sense to you. My sons, my boys know. I don't want them being like, I don't baby my kids, my boys, because I only have boys. I don't baby my boys to make them believe that you are the center of the universe and a woman is the scum of your feet. That's not who she is, because you want a queen. I always tell them, my vision for you, I want to raise you to be someone's husband. I don't want to raise you to be someone's baby daddy or boyfriend or whatever. I want them to know the importance. And it's important for boys to see the right man loving a mother. Because if they don't, they are going to 9 times out of 10 just be as ridiculous as whoever was in their life. And women, we just really need to raise these girls and let them know, it's okay to be a girl. It's okay to be feminine and, soft, and, it's okay for you to cater to. And because we are nurturing. We're not raised like that.
It's probably because a lot of these women are single mothers. They're not being catered to. Say that they don't know how to teach they don't know how to teach their daughters how to be catered to, because they're not catered to. They don't have these, they don't have this that so for them to say, well, this is how a man is supposed to treat you. This is how you should be wanting to be treated.
That's another
hold on. But I want to thank you for calling.
Thank you.
Love you, girl. That's another form of abuse that we don't talk about. Family abuse, especially dynamics of mothers and daughters. A lot of mothers treat their daughters like a piece of crap. Like, you calling your daughter, I can't stand when a woman calls their daughter a little bitch. Like, that little bitch over there, who are you talking to? This is your child. Like, this family abuse is real too.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously, but like you said, if moms be bitter, it'd be a lot of moms. Because even if you are a single mom, you have to act like that.
But it's not. No, I'm not saying it's every single mother, because my mother raised me by herself. I mean, my family is majority women. The male figure in my household was my grandfather. My grandfather passed away when I was like 16 or something like that, right? But I knew what a married couple looked like. They weren't always happy. Because trust me, my grandmother and my grandfather fought a lot. Not always physically, but they had that. But he spoiled her. My grandmother didn't know how to pump her own gas. She couldn't back a car out the driveway. She couldn't put her own earrings in. My grandmother didn't know how to do anything but cook and go to work. That's it. That's all she had to do.
Well, I want to.
My mother didn't know how to be catered to, because she saw my grandfather catering to my grandmother. But as far as her being catered to, she didn't have a man catering to her. But all of that still was brought down to me, like, this is the type of man that you should want to be with. This is the type of man that this is this, that, and the third. She taught me how to be a girl. I didn't have to be, the man of the house and this, that, and the third, and that, and this. But in some people's households, that's all they know.
Yeah, for me, I like being a girl. I like being the woman. I
still want to wear heels.
Yes,
I like nails done.
I like to be.
Well, ladies, yeah. I want to get on topic real quick about. I want to know about Unbroken, which is the LLC for LaTonya. I want to get into that real quick.
Well, Unbroken is just what it is. It is my my LLC that helps people live unbroken. Anything that has to do with you putting your fragmented life together, that's what I do. So I have a couple of babies, and it's so crazy that that Precious talked about mothers and daughters. One of my biggest projects is Broken Mamas, Bitter Babies, and that is because mothers and daughters, we have to do better for the grandkids. And a lot of instances is that there are just things as colored people that we don't address. We just sweep it under the rug. We tolerate each other. We don't really love each other. We tolerate each other. And we have to be able to heal the things. We have to have tough conversations that mend the pieces. And we ain't going to talk about it. We just going to skip around. We just going to start talking like we're good. And we're not going to address what happened in the childhood. Right. We're not going to have the conversations as mothers and daughters that we should have. And so we don't have, it ain't even about the closure. Let me let you know how dysfunction you are. Let me let you know how you hurt me, because we feel like I'm coming up from an era where kids didn't disrespect their mom. These kids these days, you say something, they say something. That's not how I'm raised. I'm very old school. And when it came to adults, we did not disrespect adults. We did not curse around adults. We didn't do that. And that's how my children are raised. But there are some conversation as a family. How you out here and you doing all of this stuff in the community and your family is jacked up. So anything that has to do with brokenness as a family, I'm a very strong advocate for child sexual abuse and domestic violence, but I'm also about letting you get your voice back. And it's not just women that I deal with, but it's men too, because I feel like when the man gets it together, the whole household gets it together. You know what I'm saying? When he gets it together and he understands that even from a child, I don't know what it's like to be a man, but I know even as a child, most men were taught you can't cry. You got to come out the womb with some Timberlands on. You got to be a thug from the womb. And even in that, and even in you being that tough, it's some things that you went through in your childhood that's making you angry. So we have to deal with the root of the problem.
You have to deal with your emotions.
Not even deal with your emotions. You have to understand
to be emotional.
Right. I ain't nothing like a man that cry. Come on, cry. Listen. We can do this together. And you think so? What happens is they're not able to cry. Even when they cry as babies, they are told shut the hell up. And so they growing up with all of this stuff inside of them. Like how you can't be a baby. Oh, you better shut up. You better shut up, little nigga. He too. Like he cry. Babies cry. He gotta be tough from too. And we have to understand that we my mission for Unbroken is to heal families. That's my big thing. To heal families, and starting with mother, daughter, father and son. There's a lot of tension between father and son, siblings, all of that stuff. That's what we do. We have workshops. Unmuted Unleashed is my baby. It's on social media, and that's what we do. I have coaching programs. I have mentoring programs. I have a initiative Not on My Watch where we actually deal with child sexual abuse in the communities. Where there's an alley, we out there making sure that it's a lit alley. You ain't gonna just be hiding behind no trees, because in the wintertime when the kids come home, it's dark outside. And let me tell you something. It's one thing to be molested as a child, but we have teenagers coming home from school, males and females, getting raped. So these is the things this is what Unbroken is about. We're not here to just be on a platform and we not making no changes. We having tough conversations that is needed in the community, teaching you how to be a lady so you don't think it's okay for you to even call your daughter out her name, that you don't think that it's okay for you to act like a dude, teaching you how to deal with your trauma. Let's have a conversation about your trauma, because the problem ain't the problem. The problem ain't that he can't keep a job. That ain't the problem. The problem is that if you would deal with your childhood issues. Now, you're not responsible for what happened to you as a child, but you got to be a part of your own rescue at some point and be like, it's my responsible to heal. And you got to take accountability for your part in what has happened to you, because 10% is what happened to you. 90% is your response to what happens to you. And so that's what we do. We really out here mending families and making sure that women have healthy relationships. What's this? We in competition. Your house jacked up, my house jacked up. I'm not better than you. If we would have a conversation, we'll understand that we're all going through. We all wear each other's underwear around here. Our undergarments is what our hearts are still dirty. We still have been through some traumatic experience, and we got to understand that we have to do better as community. Or we want to march together, but we really, if we want to march together, but we got our knees on our own necks. Yep. We want to do that, but our knees is on our own necks. Absolutely, that's unacceptable for me. And until we want to do what we have to get in these seats at the table for these lawmakers. Domestic violence ain't changing because we're not fighting to sit at the tables. Unbroken is to sit at the table and make sure that the laws regarding our children, even human trafficking, are being changed. Making sure that they not allowing the genders, that there's no specific gender. Where'd that come from? But we got to get at the tables. So whatever's going to change the community, make it better for our children, protecting a child. That 10-year-old boy that got killed over the week, it broke my heart, because there's so many cracks in the system, especially as social workers, where they drop the ball. In the police system, do you understand that they didn't hear a noise in the hallway? So their procedure was to knock on every door until you find the projects. It's one floor. It's 12 doors on the floor. Knock on the door and find out. Let me see. See if you see anything. See if you smell anything. We got to get active. We got, back in the days, we had the people that wore the Barreras. We had the guardian angels. They was out there doing that thing. You ain't have to worry about getting your purse snatched and all of that stuff. But people are so afraid to get involved. This is our community. Why do you think that they treat our communities the way they are? Because we treat our communities the way they are. You know, so you have a conversation at the school, your kid getting bullied. You like, I want to meet with the father, the mother. They come up to the school, they want to fight too. Nah, what are we teaching the kids? To be combative?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what we teaching. So Unbroken, I'm so passionate about what I do, because change starts with me. I'm the change that I want to see. I had to go through a lot to get here, and I'll be dang if my stripes don't matter. I'm like a general out here, making sure that things get done, making sure that it's not on my watch. It ain't going to happen. It may happen if I don't know about it, but it is a healthy way to get it. I dare the men to get on every corner and make sure that ain't no woman getting beat. Instead of first thing we want to do is pull out our phones and film her getting beat so you could go viral. Seriously? Yeah. No, I need for y'all to get together. And we don't even need no guns in this instant. Get together, because even if he let off one bullet, if it's 12 of y'all and all y'all get shot, it's a problem. But I dare you to go to her house. Sis, get your stuff and let's go. Let's get y'all in the street. Get your stuff. Let's go. And I dare you to move. I dare you to move. But at the same time, we got to know our place as women and stay in our place, so that we like, when it took one time for the police to be like, all right, I'm gonna lock up both of y'all. Oh, heck no, I'm a lady now. Instantly. I ain't going, I'm a lady. I don't want to be a thug, because I want to know what it's like to see us really living as community. There's no community anymore. There's no village. And so I feel sorry for y'all that have little children and there's no village. We had people looking out the window. We had people that would intervene when when we were too vulnerable to protect ourselves. We had people get involved. People don't get involved no more. And that's not good. That means that we don't have no community. So that's what Unmuted is about. I'm sorry, I just was long-winded because I felt that.
Listen, we wanted to hear.
I felt that.
you to talk real quick about your book. I
I
told the
told the
storm.
storm. So my I
Yes.
told the storm. It's a journal of I
Oh,
know
hold
that.
on. Excuse me 1 second, Vaughn. We have a caller. Thanks for calling the Evening Rush. How can we help you?
Wow. I'm just calling in. I seen the number, so I figured I'd call in.
All right. Well, you're here. You're on the line with LaTonya Smiley. We're talking about domestic violence.
Yeah, I was watching the live, and I just feel like I can relate on so many different levels. So many different levels, and I got the courage to call because I was just I'm on Clubhouse like every day, and somebody that I tapped in with, he actually had me share my story about 3 days ago, and basically he made me share my story because he felt like for me to be a better businesswoman, because I guess he sees something that I don't see. He felt like I needed to share my story, and that was part of my healing. It was crazy because I didn't even know where to begin. When he asked me to share my story, I mean, at first when I came on stage, I don't know if you go on Clubhouse, but they bring you on stage and you basically, you let people know your business, what you're doing, maybe share some experiences or relate to anything that as far as the topic that's being spoken at hand. And at that current time, I happened to tap in and they were talking about what you guys are talking about. It's clearly in my bio because I always speak about my kid's father who I lost. But I don't know. He had me share my story, and I'm pacing as I'm talking to y'all right now because it's just y'all touching some sensitive topics. But as far as Miss LaTonya Smiley, I respect you, Queen. I think what you're saying, it just creates so much value, and not even value. Like you're helping a lot of women. Not even women, because like you said, men, boys get abused as well. And I have an 11-year-old son. That was my firstborn baby. For him, when I became a mom, I was OD protective. I was very protective of him. But I always spoke to him and I talked to him because I myself went through many different things from a child up until an adult. So I always said when I had a kid, I was going to make sure that they understood me and I understood them, if you know what I'm saying. You know what I mean? And I always have the open line of communication. And so I always stress to them, like, kids get abused, whether it be a little girl or little boy, kids get abused, you know what I mean? And I always tell them to talk to me, I'm a very paranoid mom. My kids don't spend nights nowhere, you know what I mean? Like, people really don't come to my house. That's just from past trauma, you know what I'm saying? So, even with the way I talk, I mean, that just comes out, and I was sitting here listening to Mr. LaTonya Smiley. Like, for me, I have I can be a lady. I can be classy, because at one point, that's what my grandmother raised us to be. Through life, I kind of transition, and I've been around, certain, how you say, certain crowds. At one point in time, I remember my grandmother told me that I turned ratchet. That's what she said. Oh, wait. She was like, when we moved to Far Rockaway, because I kind of moved around as a kid. But once I moved to Far Rockaway, that's when I moved with my mother. And I'm not here to bash my mom, but my mother didn't raise me. You know what I mean? And from when I was about like 3 years old, I went from house to house. I mean, I was in foster care. That's where the trauma started for me at 3 years old. And I just found out that I was 3 when it happened. I thought I was older than that. But when I had my daughter, it brought up so many questions because I was bringing a female into the world, you know what I'm saying? So instantly, it just brought back flashbacks of my childhood. And I had questions. So, and I started to get angry and all types of, this mixture of emotions. And I asked my grandmother, who was the one that, basically adopted us as kids, and I asked her, like, what age is that when that happened? I was like 6. And she's like, no, baby girl, you was younger than that. I'm like, what, 5? She's like, nope. I'm like, 4. She's like, no. I just looked at her with my mouth open, like, how old was I? She was like, you had to be like 3, baby. I'm like, what? So when I was like 3 years old, I'm sorry?
I said, that's crazy.
Yeah, it just blew my mind. Like I said, at this time, because when I had my first child, I was 25. That's when I gave birth to my kid. And it's crazy because I honestly, like, I'm grateful for my kids. Everybody know I love my baby, but in life, I always said I didn't want to have kids because of everything I already had went through. that I didn't want to bring life into this evil world. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to bring life and knowing that I can't always protect them, because as much as we try, y'all, we cannot always protect our kids.
You're right.
And for me, that instantly created paranoia. That instantly created anxiety. That instantly always has me shaking when they're not in my vision or in the arm's reach. You know what I'm saying? So, my son just came and gave me a hug.
Well, what I want you to do is actually look. You know, LaTonya is here, and like she said, she has Unbroken, and you know,
yeah,
I
that's what I
definitely want
wanted
you
to say.
to.
I definitely want to tap in.
Definitely give her a call or contact her, and you know, let her talk to you. Y'all have that conversation. You know, that's what
you guys
she's here
actually
for.
got my cousin on the platform. My cousin, Precious, she up there, Fatima. You know what's crazy is that she don't even know my life story pretty much. I'm pretty sure I probably just opened her eyes up for a quick second. But, yeah, like, and I just lost my kid's father in 2017 when I was pregnant with our last kid. My son just turned 3. You know, so I just feel like, you know, for me to now be where I am now and to now have the courage to come out and talk about the things that I've been through, because it was a time where I felt embarrassed, you know what I'm saying? Like, you never really understand the stuff that you go through. You just feel like, why me? You know, like, what I do, you know? But I can honestly say, as far as with the domestic violence, that's another thing why I tapped in, because my child's father at the time, we used to fight a lot. And I can honestly admit, like, I added to it. It's not always the man, you know? It could be the woman antagonizing the man, patronizing the situation, you know? So,
I mean, me personally, I don't feel that's ever a reason for anyone to put their hands on you.
No. It's never justification for a man to put his hands on a woman. And I teach my 11-year-old that now, because some of his little sister argue, and I always tell him, like, listen, that's your little sister, you respect her and you love her, okay? And like, it starts at home. And I said, and you being her older brother, she needs to know that you love her and that you're always going to protect her. She needs to feel secure in knowing your role. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that always starts at home, because if her brother's treating her like crap and she learns to accept it, then she's going to grow up in life thinking that's what a man's supposed to treat her. So no.
That's how it starts. It starts in the home. It really does start in the home. Don't be surprised that your kids acting out in the street. That's how they act at home. We don't just go outside and act. We do that at home. What your kids do in the house, you think your kids, it bugs me for a parent. Oh, this my little BFF. If you can't get a grown friend, and this child that's going to get up and rule your house is your best friend, I got a problem with that. Because even my oldest is 34, my baby is 18.
Wow.
I'm their mom. I'm not on your level, and don't ever think that I'm on your level. I'm not. I'm your mother, and I'm not on your level. And we carry it as such. Even to this day, it's just certain behaviors that you don't do around your parents. We ain't drinking and we ain't smoking together. Even if I do it, I'm not doing it with you. I'm not clubbing with you. I'm not trying to do that. Because then what boundary do I have? You know, it starts at home.
Exactly.
We allow the siblings to fight. We ain't playing that, because if y'all fighting each other, then y'all going to do it in the street. This is what y'all. So we have to create peaceable homes for our children, to let our children know, you know, you got to be really paying, even from young age, 3 years old. This is bad. If somebody touch you there instead of mommy washing you, then it's a problem. We got to have these conversations, but we so fearful of what's going to happen. Then when your son running around here, the daddy like, oh, he a little. Then investigate why she thinks that she's a dude. Let's just cut through the chase. This is because we sweep everything under the rug. So then when it manifests that somebody been playing with his junk from a young age, and now he think he a woman. Now he's being scrutinized. No, we were supposed. How did this get past you? You know what I'm saying? There are signs. Bedwetting is a sign that a child that was going to the bathroom that automatically starts bedwetting. That is a sign. The child crying to go with you. That was a big thing. My mother would go out with her friends. I would nearly grab her ankles to go with her. But I believe she was thinking, she in the house with her father. Ain't nothing going to happen. If your child grabbing the ankles to go, you better check and double check again. What changed?
I'm not going nowhere.
If they crying because you leaving them somewhere, I don't want to go to grandma. I don't care if it's grandma. I don't want to go to grandma's house. I don't want to go to auntie. You better stay there.
That's
so
right.
You can do what? Get your child
That's
and
right.
take your child with you. Because once they are traumatized, we want to avoid the trauma instead of letting them go through the trauma and having to heal through the trauma. Avoid the trauma. But we like to drop the kids off. God, I need a break. I need a break for the whole. You going to your father for the summer. Well, where was he at the other 8 months of the year that you sending them to this father? What goes on at the father's house? What goes on at grandma's house? Because the things happen right under our nose.
thing.
Half of the child abuse does not happen in a strange place. Doesn't. It happens in a familiar place. It happens in a family's home. It happens in those places. It happens in your house when you got to have boo over. Pay attention. We got to pay attention. We got to do better. We got to do better. Well, you make sure you contact me so that we can, so I can get you together. So I hear the pain in your voice. I feel as if you also got a book inside of your belly that I'll help you give birth to. But yeah, you just need to get with me so that even teaching you how to tell your story from a place of power. Even when you tell your story, you got to come like you. Listen, I conquered that. You didn't go through that for yourself. You went through it for somebody else.
Yes, if I can intervene 1 second. At the time when the guy, his name is called Ken K. I don't know if you guys are on Clubhouse. His name is Ken K. But Mr. Ken K. Sean Lashley, actually. But when he had me express myself, like I said, I don't know. Now I have this crazy anxiety, right? So as I'm sitting there talking, I see my husband. He's anxious. He's up. He's pacing back and forth. So he left out the room at one point and he came back in. So there's a lot of things that we were like basically touching on. Once the conversation was done, he comes in the room and he's like, babe, this is how he said it. He's like, babe, get your shit together. I looked at him, I'm like, what? What I do? He's like, babe, get your shit together. I said, what? Because my anxiety was still active and I didn't realize it. He's like, look at you. I can see your body. He's like, you got to calm down. I said, you know what? He's like, I don't know what it is that when I start to come out, you can see, like, it just takes over. You know what I mean? So that's a
you've been bottling up for so long and you are just now trying to find your voice. You will find it, but you gotta keep expressing it and speaking on it, and then you will get to that place where, like LaTonya said, you have to have power. Because I don't speak about domestic violence in a soft tone. I don't. I speak about it very strong. It happens, but it took me some time to get there. So you will get there. You keep doing the work for yourself and for your children, and you will heal and you will be okay.
Let me tell you guys how I actually started this YouTube page, right? And I started it about 2 months ago. I haven't really told nobody about it because I'm like trying to find a way to come out and just start it. I mean, as far as like, I want to use that as a platform. That's going to be my platform. It's not even just as far as like, you know, touching with women, but I want to use that as my platform to bring in people closer to God, because that for me, I feel like God was always with me. You know what I mean? Because a lot of things that I've been through, some people, they give up and they check out, you know? So I know for a fact that's my God keeping me here.
Right. But LaTonya already said for you to get next to her and speak with her. And clearly she has a lot of experience, and you can tell that the passion that she have is exuding out of her skin. And I think that it would be a good thing for you to speak to someone that does not know you, who can help you work through what you got going on. And she actually has she got Unbroken, and that's what you need to be.
And we thank you so much for calling.
Have a blessed night.
And we appreciate you. And
thank you.
All right.
All right, y'all be blessed. Yes, good night.
You too.
You too.
Later.
Y'all are making me little
teary-eyed.
Little teary-eyed. I think it's some dirt going on in the house. I'm gonna have to clean up definitely.
First of all, I don't know why you act like you haven't been abused.
I have, but like we talked about the other night, and you know, it was different for me, and I think a lot of men feel that way. It's different for them, you know, having sex at a young age with you know, the babysitter,
somebody older who had no business being with you, who had no business touching you.
Men think of it as stripes versus, you not knowing that, yes, this is being abused. And, once again, like we all discussed the other night, after seeing that person again, it's like it was nothing.
She act like nothing happened.
Yeah,
Yeah.
oh, pedophile.
Yo, nasty. I hope you're watching.
I hope she
You're
watches.
nasty.
Yeah, I hope she.
You're
So
nasty.
I want to get back on I told the storm.
And one
So
thing that I do want to point out while I'm here, because I wouldn't be me if I didn't, we have to always look at both sides of the coin, because a lot of time the abuser gets a bad rep and we don't understand, even when it comes to rape and stuff like that. What is the mother going through thinking, yo, my son is a rapist? My daughter's, well, you don't hear too many women getting arrested like that. And at the same time, as being a parent, at any time I could think I have it together and my son comes across the screen or whatever. And so I'm very careful, even when it comes to handling those that are or have been abusers, because everybody has done something. It troubles me that, everybody I'm like, well, we talking about pedophilia. Somebody got to deal with the pedophile. Then we got to get to his pain. Half of them were molested. It doesn't make it right, but they have issues too. And somebody has to deal with it. And that's why I am who I am, because I get to it. I'm not afraid of them. I have conversations. Listen, how can we heal you? Because if we heal that community, then we don't have to worry about the kids being molested. But everybody, oh, you this and you that. Okay, well, you steal, you rob, you smoke crack. You all do stuff. You got your stuff with you. You all do your stuff. So we have to look at it like, people sometimes they don't know how to apologize. They don't know how to accept forgiveness. They just think we talk and we good. No, I'm sure anybody that has molested a child did not forget what they did. Not unless they got some straight amnesty. They know what they did. Their shame eats them up. Their shame eats them up alone. And when they got to come at you in your adult life, you a grown man, and I got to face the fact that I used to fondle your balls when I was little. Come on. When you was little? No, it's not good. They have enough shame to deal with. And so what I do, because I'm just very, very, very serious about what I do, they have chat rooms. They have pedophile chat rooms. And I go into their chat rooms to see what we talk, what's the conversation. And a lot of them is like, I don't want to be this way, but I can't control myself. It's no different than somebody who smokes crack. It's no different than that. It's no different than somebody that has an addiction. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta, this is why we gotta sit down. We gotta study. When you're involved in something, you want to learn something, you study that thing. You study that monster to see how we gonna grab hold of it to make sure that my child does not commit suicide because somebody touched them as a child. That my child will go through the week, but you got to get involved, because see, at the end of the day, nobody cares until it's at. We talking about domestic violence. It should have been full, but nobody's here until they got to call the show and be like, you know what, Dawn? Now my daughter, could we bring LaTonya back? Could Precious come back? Because it doesn't concern them. When it's not you, you don't care. You only care when it's at your doorstep. Then it's all hands on deck.
To you two ladies.
When it's you, it's all hands on deck. When it's somebody else, when it's your neighbor, it don't matter. Oh, they over there whooping up.
And
that's what we do.
Exactly. There you go. I was about to say, that's exactly what happens. They will say that.
Oh gosh. I don't know. I physically wouldn't know what to do if I saw somebody getting their ass beat. Like, I really wouldn't know what to do. Like, first of all, I'm 5'5", 125 pounds. I'm not scaring nobody.
You could call the police.
I'm calling cops, though. I'm calling
you
cops.
Call the police.
That's what he's gonna say. I'm gonna yell out the window. I don't know what else to do.
Even if you hear something, if you know next door something going on next door, I used to go downstairs and knock on her door. You okay? Like, I heard a ruckus around, looking around. What's going on in here? Because I heard y'all arguing. Everything okay in here? Because if I don't, and then I hear a gunshot, I gotta live with that. You heard. You didn't say nothing. What if that's my daughter downstairs? What if that's something that could be avoided? What if it's a homicide, suicide, where he want to kill his own self, and that's my son? No, let's get involved.
Call the cops.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know if even if I physically go downstairs and knock on the door, it ain't probably gonna stop him from beating nobody's ass. He probably gonna beat my ass in the interim, and I ain't got time for that. So I'm yell. I'm calling the cops because I don't want to get my ass beat because you getting your ass beat too. I'm sorry. We both shouldn't get our ass beat.
He gotta be a bad somebody. He ain't gonna beat both of us at the same time. Somebody got.
Look, it could have been
you ain't gonna stay your little punk tail home. Don't worry about it, sweetheart. Don't worry about it, sweetheart. Now, I need somebody that's gonna fight for me. If I need for you to jump on his back or something.
I'll jump somebody back. I'll help if you need my help. But what I'm trying to say is I'm not scaring nobody. If he gonna look at me and be like, well, what's she gonna do? I'm a roundhouse kick your asses. I don't know. I'm gonna take my team.
What I'm saying is, like, in all seriousness though, too, because if he's psycho enough, you come knocking on that damn door, you come missing with the woman, you know, that's all I'm saying.
She talking about he can't beat both our asses at the same time. Your ass is already knocked out. Now he's on to me.
Now I watch too much. See, people gotta listen. I might not could beat you, but I'm gonna know that I fought for you. It take a different set of courage to make the community better. Everybody can't be scared. Now, it's too many kids involved. There's too many kids getting hurt on our watch. You know, it don't have to be my child for me to correct the injustice with a child. Like if your daughter, if I see a fight, it's a fight. Nah, I pull my car over. And I'm gonna be like, look, stop hitting her or something or whatever. We ain't gonna just allow this to go down because I was a paramedic. You know what I'm saying? As a New York City paramedic, I have to, you know, I'm a first responder. I can't sit there and let you. I don't want nobody watching my daughters get beat in the street.
I'm not gonna sit and watch nobody get beaten. Hell no, that's not what I want. But you talking about if I hear something go knock on the door, and the only thing that happened was something fell. They were like, this nosy bitch, and now I'm looking crazy. But
maybe like who called the police? I did. I called the cops.
Yeah, like you know.
I called the cops. I got them on speed dial for y'all. I called the cops. You okay?
If I ride past and I see a bunch of kids fighting, yes, I'll pull a car over. I'm calling the cops.
Let me tell you, nobody, everybody who knows me knows that I am an advocate for just getting away from domestic violence situations. I donate to Safe Horizon every year, regardless if it was at my fundraisers for domestic violence or if it's my own personal coin, because they were the ones who offered me a safe place when I was going through or whatever. So every year I donate to Safe Horizon. And everybody knows if you call me, even if it's in the middle of the night, I will go running. I will come and get you from where you at. Like this, domestic violence is very dear to my heart, and it's just who I am. But I do know that a lot of times people are turned off from the fact that women always go back. 9 times out of 10, you got you over there. I come beat him up with you or whatever the case may be, and then you go back. Now I'm looking foolish. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a lot of things that play into a reason why people don't interfere like they really want to, because you just never know what can happen. And then go ahead, Dawn.
No,
I must say, didn't you have an experience with Dawn?
That was my situation. I pretty much went to go help the girl, and you know, he was whooping her behind. And end of the day, like as soon as I started putting hands on him, she jumped on me. So it was like, hold up, I was trying to help you. Listen, you two belong together. Let me keep it moving.
You just never know what you're gonna get. Like LaTonya, your heart is in it. Your heart is definitely pure. You know, you got the heart of a tiger. Like I could feel it in your spirit. I'm really happy to know that this is who you are deep down to your core. So I know that whatever you do is really done out of the genuineness of it. And so I can see why you are who you are and how big you are. So I really, you are a blessing to the community, and I'm definitely gonna. I didn't, even though we became Facebook friends because of Charmaine, and she connected because of domestic violence, and this was years ago. So, so you're on my Facebook for that, and I never really like interacted with you as much, but now I am because I love your strength. I love who you are as a woman. Like just sitting here, listen to you. I did not know you had all of this in you. You are fire. So we need you around. You know, it's just you a blessing, girl.
Thank
but,
you.
But
one thing that I do want to say,
noise.
I make noise. I make noise for the right reason. What I do want to encourage everybody that will watch even the replay, if you have daughters or you have cousins or whatever, and if you're a dude, be a presence in their life. One thing that I do know is that when my sons show their presence, like sometimes they grow up and they just get busy, and they're all in Virginia. Just be a presence. Just show up every now and then to let them know. You might not, just your presence alone could shift something, because if he is abusive and they're arguing and you don't know about it, start stopping by. How are you in the same state and you don't make time? Let me just check on my sis. Let me just let them know. Let me just come up in here. What up, sis? And let you know that I'm around. You know, and that makes a big difference. Let your daughters know that you're around. Brothers, check on your sisters. Yo, what's good? I just was in town. What's going on around here? Because as a man, you'll see stuff that maybe she don't see. But when they know that it's no presence there, y'all just trying to know, you know, he trying to keep you isolated and stuff like that. Making your presence known is a big deal in domestic violence. Brother showed up. They invite you to the cookout. Roll up with your boys like y'all do. Roll up. We here and we stay until we checking out the scenes, because that'll show you who he is as a man. Can I talk to you for a minute, guys? Sometimes you gotta have the talk old school. What's your intentions with my sister? You know we don't play that hand stuff, right? You know, because you have to be that way. But I believe that when we make time for family, we rather hang out. We don't know what's going on with our kids. My kids is grown. My daughters is grown. Let me think. I will pull up. I don't have a problem letting somebody's son know this is unacceptable. And we can handle it. We can handle it this way. But if you want to see me get out of character, don't put your hands on my kids. Like if you don't know what to do with them, just leave them alone.
Then
walk away.
Don't put your hands on my kids and my sons.
No problem to walk away.
That's right. My sons,
you got your own walking papers.
My sons would never hit a woman. Never hit a woman. They like, Mom, you don't gotta hide nothing from us no more. I wish somebody would. And that's the thing. Our sons grow up. They watch you get beat. You in the house with your young sons, and then they turn 15, and now they like, yo, you put your hands on my mom. So now it's friction in your household.
Yeah, now you got friction.
Now you got to protect your son, because your son is like, I ain't little no more. These little ones growing up. Don't put your hands on your mother. So what if he gets a weapon and he kills them? Now your son is he's traumatized for one thing. He may have some time until it's investigated, and we have a way to prevent this. And so we just got to be real with this situation. Don't take it lightly. Take what you can glean from this conversation and run with it. I had a whole tumor in the back of my head from getting punched in the head by a dude. That I'm surprised that I still got all my marbles. That I had a whole tumor growing back there because he would punch me in the back of my head. And so we have to be able to have, like, not just have these conversations, Dawn, this is great, but we need action. How can I make it better for my kids? What am I teaching? I believe this needs to be a topic in school. What you got? That's great. You know, so we gotta we just gotta know. We also must know these women be hot in the abuse. Oh yeah, they be hot in it. They do. They don't have, because they're afraid, and that's why we have to have safe houses. We have to have procedures. We got to have things that this is your getaway. Yo, stop buying this $500 hair. Have you some getaway money, sis? If you want to get away and you ain't got no money because he take care of you, that's a problem. You got to prioritize what is your escape? I had to plan to escape. You better watch enough and get some tips on what to do. You better pack you a bag and have it in a secret place where you could go dig it up. This is some real stuff. Have your documents. You should not have to look all over the place for your birth certificate, your social security card, your kids' stuff, because when you go to the shelter, when you do intake, they want that stuff. They want that stuff to place you. And don't waste the taxpayers' dollars going there if you're going to tell them where you at. You might as well stay home. But these are some real tough things. Like, you need to have your stuff in one place. You need to have you some getaway money so that you're not hungry in the street. We got to prioritize, because we got to get you an escape route to leave. Like, let's put some date rape stuff in his drink so he's going, so you and your kids and have some. Listen, if you don't got no friends to help you escape, you don't got no friends. It's good to have friends when everything is going good, but who's really there for you when the chips is down? Who could you really call and be like, yo, this is the situation, and I need for you to come get me. My friend that got killed, he came in the house. He wasn't even abusive. He sat down and he told the son woke up. He was like 4 years old at the time. He like, go back to bed. I'm about to kill your mother. Like, who does that? So these is real situations. Get up, I'm about to kill your mother. He's in school. He's drawing a picture of his mother laying in so she didn't come to work. We like, where's she at? She never came to work today. The mother lived on the first floor. She lived on the middle floor. Her sister lived upstairs. We all worked for the same company. The mother and the sister came to work. She didn't come to work. Where's Tiara at? She didn't show up today. Father's downstairs. Call upstairs to Tiara, see where she's at. The little boy answered the phone. Mommy and what I can't remember his name. They laying in the bed. Mommy got jelly on her face. That's a gunshot wound. So this is. The kids is just running around playing and stuff, not even knowing what took place. Mother lived downstairs. The sister was like, I thought I heard something, but I thought it was outside. No, your daughter, she's in there. She's dead. He killed her and then killed himself. And so this is
in the bed.
Yeah, he killed her and then killed himself. And this is real stuff. You know, we think everything is good. If somebody is even jealous of your success, we got a mouth problem. And no, we emasculate these men. So now I got to look out for the men for 1 second. We emasculate them, and that's a trigger for them. No man, not unless you got a real dirt bag, does not like the fact that he doesn't have a job. Now, if you allow him to sit on your couch and play PlayStation all day, that's one thing. But if he's out and he's frustrated, he may have a felony. He may have something that he's unable to find work. And you're steady in his face like this, chill. Because then when it escalates and you done called him out his name and all of that and got in his face, then when he knocks you down or he spazzes on you, you're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. You know, you shouldn't. So we really need to learn how to be mature in relationships. And that's all I got for y'all on tonight. You know, y'all just got me fired up in here for real, because when you know better, you do better. I mentor teenagers from the ages of 13 to 21, because I don't need for you out here trying to be tough like I was. At the end of the day, I've lost so much being tough. You know, I lost jobs because of my attitude. I lost relationships because of my attitudes. And one thing that a parent never wants to see is their children going through the same things that they went through because they thought that that's how it's supposed to be. So sometimes we ignorant and we just think that, oh, because mommy did it like that, it's true. No, can I tell you something? Half of the things we were taught is you just ignorant. You need to go and you need to. Well, my mother did it. Well, your mother didn't. It wasn't right. It wasn't correct. Just because you was raised in it, don't make it correct. And I'm telling you, if y'all never invite me, you're going to take this. You're going to think about that. Because when it showed why I'm the way that I am, I'm like this because my mother was like this. And she's like that because her grandmother was like that. And this is what's going on. And we got to stop it. Do some homework and research how the mind works and how curses come into the family so that you can be better. I don't want to be like my mother. I want to be who I am. And that's what's important. I don't want to be like, no, I don't want to be tough. I wasn't made a dude. So all that testosterone that I had, I don't got it except right here on this mustache that I got to tame the older I get. But other than that, we don't got that going on. So
LaTonya, tell them how they could get up with you.
you could get up with me, of course, all social media. I am LaTonya Smiley. On Facebook, I'm LaTonya Smiley. Instagram, I am LaTonya_Smiley. On Twitter, I am LaTonya Smiley. You could meet me over in my Facebook group, Unmuted Unleashed, where we talk about real conversation. You could email me, unbroken@LaTonyaSmiley.com. Wherever you need me, I ain't hard to find because I'm here and I ain't going nowhere. So you guys can find me. Listen, if you need to get your family together, you need to if you need to get your family together, you need to contact me. If you were molested and you are struggling in your healing process, you need to contact me. If you are a mother and a daughter and y'all act like Cain and Abel, I need for you to contact me so we can get y'all together so that y'all can heal from this trauma. Even if you have a child that has gone through sexual abuse, we don't want them to grow up to be dysfunctional adults. We want to deal with it. We want to have the conversations. Even me teaching you how to have the conversation, because I think that when these things happen to our kids, we so numb, we don't even know what to do, because we be like, I really believe that we black out mentally for a period of time, saying, I don't even know what to do at this point. I wasn't prepared for my child to come home and be like, somebody put their penis in their mouth. I wasn't prepared for my daughter to come home pregnant and say that this is real stuff. And so this is real stuff, and we got to deal with it. You know, I have people that have told me, yo, the brothers was molesting each other, the sisters, like all of her kids were like getting at each other. Where did this perversion come from? So we have to have these conversations. Look, I don't want, like I told Dawn last night, I don't even got no rugs in my house. There's nothing hidden here, because my truth is setting people free. And that's what it's about, me letting you know what's real and what's fake. We can tell the doers from those that only talk good game. And you got a 2K followers, and what are you doing? You got 5,000 followers, but your platform, because you're concerned about your brand, you don't want to have these, you can't have these conversations on their platform. We can't discuss that there, but you got the influence for the word to get out, but you too into yourself. Time out for that, because our kids is dying in the street. The adults is dysfunctional. He just remembered that he got molested and he's shooting up Walmart. Come on, or he killing the cat, the dog, and you and your kids at the same time. So we have to have these. This was good. We have to have these. We have to have these platforms, these forums where we can have these conversations. And I hope that we do it again, because domestic violence is not just November.
Definitely. We definitely going to do it again. I want to thank you, LaTonya. I really appreciate this conversation. Precious, you know we always appreciate you over here. Yes. Rainbow, how you want to go out?
I just want to say LaTonya is the shit, right? Y'all out here trying to get to Ayala. Y'all better be trying to get to LaTonya.
Come on, Ayala. Listen, it's all about the truth. It's all about making sure that we good as a people, because don't nobody care about us but us. Don't nobody care. And half the time we act like we don't care about us.
Exactly.
So we have to do better. If you have a platform, you got to be able to make sure that your platform is making change in the community. Don't put no GoFund up and expect for everybody to just give you their money when you ain't even allow us to even come on and deal with the real. We got to deal with the real stuff around here, and that's what we do.
That's 100% true.
I only collaborate with people that's getting it how I'm getting it, and making sure that we making a change. I got 9 grandbabies. Ain't no way in hell I'm about to sit down and allow stuff to go on around me. And all them kids you got on, I know, like you got a whole, you got like a whole daycare center. You need to.
She got 9 grandbabies.
She was dealing with me this week when I had them going at it, so she knew what it was. But ladies, we definitely gonna do this again. I appreciate everybody. Anybody that missed this one, we're gonna replay it multiple times on the Evening Rush Network. Also, go check out the eveningrushnetwork.com. Remember, we're also on iHeart, Spotify, Apple, Google, all of them. So definitely check us out. It was a pleasure, and I just want to say good night, everybody. As always, we're going to go out with my bro Fresh, man. You know what it is, man. Miss you, bro. One.
told me I'm a king and that crown fitted. You can catch